It is now decades since she last looked out from Kensington Palace, and the world has moved a long way. But this princess still moved people today to come to her home to remember her.
The people's princess is dead across the country, across the world. Millions are trying to come to terms with
when she died, we all stopped. That life that ended in the dark of a tunnel had been lived in the brightest of spotlights. The cameras started clicking when she was revealed as the new girl of the next king.
I wouldn't say I was struck by beauty. I was struck by her kindness and sort of sweetness and shyness.
It wasn't long before Elizabeth Emmanuel was designing a royal wedding dress. It would be a fairy tale for the nation to believe in, with the young Lady Diana Spencer in the middle of it.
When you look at those photographs and the footage of her in that gown, that she's so little, the dress is so big, and it sort of sums up really what happened later on.
She was determined to make sure her sons saw more of normal life, however much of a roller coaster her own life became. All the attention she drew, she began to use. Soon after this appearance in Angola, landmines were outlawed. And while every royal shook hundreds of hands a week, Diana's handshake made a point to tell the watching world that people with HIV needn't be marginalised.
HIV does not make people dangerous to know, so you can shake their hands and give them a hug. Heaven knows they need it.
A photo Diana signed still hangs on the wall of a London HIV hospital, where nurse Julian met her 3 times.
She was the trailblazer, you know, she did something that nobody had ever done. This was something that was globally saying, you need to look at yourselves.
Her final summer she spent on the water before her romance with Dodi Fayed took her to his father's hotel and then out across Paris just after midnight in a plan hastily hatched to evade the photographers.
There were 4 people in that Mercedes, and the only people who'd taken actually lessons from the SAS on how to do evasive driving in the case of a terrorist attack, for instance, was Princess Diana. She could have driven that car because all members of the royal family get those courses.
She was more qualified than anyone else in that car.
She was more qualified than anybody else in that car.
What strikes you about the Alma Tunnel is just how short it is. It's a few hundred feet long, cars are in and out in just a few seconds. But that night, that car went in pursued by 24 photographers. And behind the wheel was a man who shouldn't have been there. He was drunk. Above that tunnel, this flame has drawn people ever since to say what she meant to them.
You felt she was a force for good, and she did good things, you know.
And she turned the royalty into something more relevant.
Yeah,
they stopped being stuffy.
Like an angel.
Like an angel?
Yes, a very good person, very kind person, and we need to don't forget her.
In the city she lived and in the city she died, it is hard to believe it is 20 years already. Dominic Reynolds, 5 News.